Hey, so it has been 3 weeks since um, California um, closed for social distancing and just in observance of the pandemic. And this is the start of week 4, so it has been 3 weeks. We're working on week 4, and I originally wanted to make a video when this happened, just documenting and sharing what I was immediately going through, but I wasn't ready to commit to making. I wasn't ready to talk because I wasn't even sure what I was feeling, and um, as time has gone by, I've been able to process it and uh, get myself in a better headspace to communicate those feelings and thoughts. But many of us are dealing with it in different ways, and it's an interesting time because this is the first time in human history that there's been a pandemic, and we have the internet and social media and means to communicate with people all over the world. So you're seeing how some people have been really successful in other areas where the tragedy is just so much more, and you know we're able to share some of that information and share the stories, and it's interesting because we're still able to be connected, but there still is something so powerful about being in person, and that's one of the things that this self-isolation does make you appreciate and realize that you really do enjoy being in these other spaces that you've grown accustomed to. But when this all began, the week right before everything got closed, I was Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I was working and not thinking of anything of it. But Thursday, when I came into work, I was really thinking, this didn't feel right. This felt weird. It felt unusual. And then Friday, it felt bad. And going with those 2 days' feelings, I already had my schedule set up for the following week, and I canceled everything because it didn't feel right, and it felt like I was putting people at risk. As a trainer, you see a full schedule and you're like, yeah, this feels good. I got people who are eager to work with me and they're ready to go. But as a trainer, you want people to be healthy and safe, and you want to contribute to wellness. And it didn't feel like that's what was going to happen. So when I wrapped my mind around that, I canceled everything for the week on Sunday. So a few hours later, the university and the gym followed suit, and everything was closed. And it's one of those like reaffirming moments where you see that your actions are shared and reflected by a larger entity. So you're like, okay, good, we're on the same page, we're thinking the same thing, and there's not friction between those decisions. So I immediately went from being like, okay, I'm doing the right thing, to what am I going to do? And that first day 1 of self-isolation, I remember just feeling uneasy and not sure what to do with myself or how I was going to work, if I had work. And by the midday, I was like, okay, I was seeing that I could train people virtually. I could work with FaceTime and Zoom and Skype. But as I was messaging people through the day, a lot of people were resistant to that idea because they were like, oh, I think we'll be back in a few days, maybe 2 weeks. And they really didn't want to learn a new way of living if it was a short-term investment. And I had the feeling that this wasn't going to be a short-term experience. We're going to be digging in for a while, and I was trying to get people onboarded to try a new way of doing things so that we could stay moving and, just stay active while we were self-isolating. And that first week was so much resistance, and I wasn't sure how to bridge that, but I remember like the week before I was working with like 20 some people, and then the first week I was probably working with like 4, because so many people had resisted that they didn't want to get started that way. And also there was just that general cloud of confusion. Nobody knew, were we coming, were we going, what was up, what was down. And that first week was just so much confusion, and just everyone was trying to find their footing. But as that first week wrapped up, I was checking in with people again, and I found that a lot of people were like, we just want something to do. And the idea of staying moving, staying active, staying fit was a really nice thing to do. So the bulk of my people came back in that second week, and you feel you feel employed when you have your people, and you feel like you can fulfill your passion when you're actually working with people. And it was really, really encouraging when people were coming back and excited that we could still do stuff and still reframe some of our goals and focus on technique and focus on tempo or volume, or just different ways to get creative. And then the third week was another situation where I felt like I was learning really quick, because we could obviously do some body weight exercises, but I was also learning quickly what things worked with clients, some at home equipment, things that could make the workouts even more beneficial or valuable just by, adding different tools, and, using a towel to make the exercise more challenging, or like using a bottle of detergent or socks, or like, just finding different ways to get creative and improvise. And, that was you learn quickly what works, what doesn't, how to make things happen well. So for me, having that third week, finding those proficiencies was really nice. And, this is the start of week 4, and I feel like I have some footing with my work, and I feel like I've personally digested some of what I was feeling at the beginning of this. When you get started, you're just kind of like, what do I do with this time? I feel like I need to be productive. I feel like I need to be productive all the time, or I feel like I need help. So some of that is filling the time with, just something. And my friend Liz, she finished reading Grapes of Wrath, and she was raving about it. So I'm like, cool, I'll do that. That sounds like a classic. You're excited about it, so we made an agreement to, I'll read that, and she'll watch The Tiger King, and we'll have taken from opposite sides of the continuum of culture. But just trying to keep yourself busy. And that's usually something hard for me, because I'm busy through the day with work, and then now where there's more time for that, I have to really dig into some of those hobbies. And in this case, what I'm looking at is taking a bite out of storytelling and different parts of culture, whether it be, the fleeting culture of Netflix, or, that time-tested, American classic of, Grapes of Wrath. So digging into different ways to keep yourself busy. And as far as like exercising, I've been training people out of my garage, and I have some equipment in there, and that's keeping me busy. And I enjoy staying moving. And the equipment I have isn't, anything special. It's just some 30-pound dumbbells, and it's just maybe 100 pounds on it's not even like a barbell that you would compete with. It's just a very simple, thin, maybe 20-pound barbell, but it's sufficient, and it'll be good to help me stay moving. And for me, I want to stay moving so that when the time comes that I can get back to the types of exercises and the types of training that I enjoy, I have, stayed limber, stayed active, so I don't have to retrain some of that flexibility and mobility. I can just kind of dive in and get back to some of the stuff I love. So being patient with myself, and as time has gone by, the last week, I feel like I'm having more good days than bad days. That first week, you're just like having bad day after bad day after bad day, and then as time goes on, you're having more good days than bad days, and you're able to keep your chin up. And for me, one of the things as we're all dealing with this, some of us need to like chat it out and like say, hey, here's my highs, here's my lows, here's my, how I'm feeling, how I'm doing. And some people need to laugh about it. They need to like make it lighter so that they can just get some of the weight off of their back and off of their shoulders and just feel better, even if it's just for a split second. So we're all dealing with it differently, and I know that I deal with it in both ways. Like sometimes I need to talk it through, sometimes I need to laugh a little, and however you're dealing with it, I hope you manage, and I hope you're happy and healthy, and we're all trying to deal with this like sense of new normal, and we'll get through it and get back to our extraordinary lives on the other side. So just keep your chin up, and we'll be good. So I'll make an update soon, and hopefully maybe I'll just make up videos for a while about things that I've been meaning to get caught up on that. But hope everyone's well. All right, bye.